The great alien city was silent, its shining towers glowing under a dim red sky. Inside the grand medical hall, the air was heavy with fear. 17 alien doctors stood defeated, their strange instruments useless. Their patient was the daughter of a powerful alien leader, a young woman with glowing silver skin and golden eyes that no longer opened. She lay on a crystal bed, her chest rising only with shallow breaths. The doctors had tried everything. They had used plasma injections, energy healing, and even machines older than their civilization. Still, nothing worked. Each one stepped back in shame, lowering their heads. The leader's voice thundered through the hall. 17 of you, the finest in the galaxy, and not one could save her. Whispers spread like fire among the crowd. There is no hope, someone muttered. She will not last another hour. Another whispered. The leader's eyes burned with grief and anger. His people looked at him, waiting for his next command. But even he, strong and feared across the stars, felt powerless. It was then that one of the guards spoke carefully. There is one more option. A human is here, working in the lower docks. He is no doctor, but the hall erupted in laughter and anger. A human? A primitive creature? What can he do that we cannot? One doctor snapped, another sneered. Do you want us to insult ourselves further by letting an outsider touch her? But the leader raised his hand. His voice shook. 17 alien healers failed. If there is even a chance, we will try. Bring the human. In the far side of the city, the human, James, was repairing an old engine. His hands were black with grease. His life was simple. He fixed ships, earned his pay, and kept his head low among aliens who never respected him. When the guards stormed in, James looked up in confusion. What did I do now? He muttered. They did not answer. They only dragged him through the glowing streets, past the staring crowds, into the grand medical hall. James froze. His eyes widened when he saw the girl lying on the crystal bed. Her skin shimmered like starlight, but her face was pale, lifeless. Around her stood tall alien doctors with sharp features and eyes filled with contempt. The leader stepped forward, towering above James. Human, my daughter is dying. 17 of our best doctors failed. Now you will try. James blinked in disbelief. Me? I'm not a doctor. I just fix engines. His voice trembled. The aliens laughed cruelly. See? Even he admits his weakness. But the leader's gaze was cold and heavy. If you refuse, you die here. If you try and fail, you die here. But if you succeed, you will have honor beyond measure. James felt his heart pounding. His throat was dry. He wanted to say no. He wanted to run. But when his eyes fell again on the girl, something inside him stirred. She looked fragile, like someone who had fought too long and was ready to let go. He had seen this look before, back on Earth, when his sister lay in the hospital, machines all around her. But nothing helped. That day, all he could do was hold her hand, and for a moment, she had smiled. Taking a slow breath, James stepped closer to the crystal bed. The room grew quiet. Alien eyes followed his every move. He could hear their whispers. This is madness, a waste of time. He will kill her. But James ignored them. He wiped his greasy hands on his shirt and reached out. His fingers shook as he hovered them above her chest. The leader leaned forward, his voice low but sharp. Human, remember, her life is in your hands. Fail, and your blood will answer for it. James closed his eyes. His hand finally touched her skin. It was warm, trembling faintly. For a moment, nothing happened. Silence filled the hall like a heavy storm. The alien smirked, already preparing to declare him a fraud. James opened his eyes, panic rising inside him. His heart whispered, "What am I doing here? I'm no healer." But then, something stirred beneath his palm. A faint pulse, weak but real. He felt it before anyone else did. A soft glow spread under his hand. So faint at first he thought it was a trick of the light. But then the alien girl's chest rose with a deeper breath. Her lips parted as if her body was fighting to return. Gasps filled the hall. The doctors stepped back in shock. The leader's eyes widened. For the first time in many cycles, hope sparked in the hearts of the people. And James, the human who fixed broken engines, now stood at the center of a miracle. The glow under James's hand faded slowly. But the girl's breathing did not stop. Her chest rose again, steady this time. And the silent hall erupted with noise. Some shouted in disbelief. Others whispered in fear. The alien doctors stared at James as if he were a dangerous creature, something unknown and uncontrollable. James pulled his hand back quickly. His palm tingled as if it still held that strange warmth. His heart hammered inside his chest. He looked down at the girl. She was alive, her eyelids fluttering. Though she did not yet wake, he whispered to himself, "How did I do that?" The leader stepped forward. His tall figure cast a shadow over James. His eyes, once filled with grief, now burned with something new. Hope mixed with suspicion. "You, a human," touched her, and life returned. "Tell me, what power do your kind hide from us?" James shook his head, his voice uneven. "I don't have powers. I don't know what just happened. I'm not even a doctor. I fix machines." The alien council members, who had been silent until now, began arguing loudly. One shouted, "This is a trick, some hidden device." Another snarled, "No, I felt the energy myself. The human did something no healer could." The doctors lowered their heads in shame, their pride crushed. The leader silenced them all with one command. "Enough, the human stays." His voice echoed through the hall, but then he turned sharply to James. "You will not leave until you explain this miracle. If you cannot explain, then you will heal again, until we know the truth." Fear crept into James's stomach. He had come here against his will, dragged from his simple work. Now he was caught in something far larger than himself. He looked at the girl again, her face calm now, and he wondered if her life had been saved by chance, by luck, or by something inside him he never understood. That night, James was not allowed to return to his quarters. Instead, guards escorted him to a chamber of stone and crystal. Not a cell, but not freedom either. "You are under watch," one guard said coldly. "If she dies again, so do you." James sat alone on the hard bed. His mind replayed the moment again and again. The feeling of warmth, the pulse that answered his touch. It was not like fixing a machine. This was something alive, fragile, and yet somehow it had responded to him. He pressed his hands together, whispering, "What if it wasn't me? What if it was just chance?" Meanwhile, in the medical hall, the alien doctors gathered in secret. Their faces were twisted with anger. 17 of us failed, and yet they praised the human. One hissed, "If this continues, our knowledge, our honor, will mean nothing." Another agreed, "We must find a way to prove he is a fraud, before the council crowns him a healer." But the leader's daughter stirred in her bed. Her golden eyes flickered open for a moment. She whispered a faint word, though no one could understand it. It sounded almost like human. Then she slipped back into rest, her body stronger than before. The guards who witnessed it ran to tell the leader, and hope spread again among the people. When James was called back the next morning, he walked through the streets under heavy stares. Aliens pointed, whispered, some in awe, others in disgust. "That is the human," they said, "the one who saved her." But others hissed, "Dangerous, cursed." In the hall, the leader waited. "My daughter breathes because of you. Human, from now on you will stay close to her until she rises again." His eyes narrowed. "And if she falls, your life is forfeit." James swallowed hard. He wanted to refuse, but when he looked at the girl again, he saw more than just a patient. She looked fragile, like someone who trusted him without words, and that strange bond pulled at him, stronger than fear. He whispered to himself, "I don't know why this is happening, but if I'm her only chance, then I have no choice." And so the human, once just a mechanic fixing broken ships, became the unwilling guardian of an alien life, surrounded by enemies who hated him, guided only by doubt and a mystery he could not explain. The chamber was filled with quiet tension. The leader's daughter lay on her crystal bed, her chest rising slowly, her golden eyes still closed. James stood at her side, feeling the weight of dozens of alien eyes on him. Guards, council members, healers, each one watching his every move. Some looked at him with curiosity, others with hatred. James swallowed. His hands trembled. He had fixed broken machines under fire, survived storms on distant planets, but never had he faced something like this. His own thoughts echoed inside his head. What if yesterday was just luck? What if nothing happens this time? The leader's voice broke the silence. "Do it again. Human, show us it was not a trick." James knelt beside the girl, His fingers hovered above her chest. He could feel warmth radiating from her, faint but real. He closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and placed his hand gently against her skin. At first, nothing happened. The room was filled with low laughter. See? It was chance. One healer muttered, another sneered. The human is no miracle worker. James's heart raced. His palm began to sweat. He pressed harder, whispering under his breath, "Come on, breathe, breathe." He remembered his sister, how he had begged her not to leave. The same desperation filled him now. And then, there was a spark, not lightning, not fire, but a gentle pulse of light. It spread under his hand, soft and golden. The girl's chest rose sharply as if she had been drowning and finally took air. Her lips parted, a small sound escaping. The laughter stopped. Silence crashed into the hall. The doctors leaned forward in disbelief. Some gasped. Some stepped back in fear. "Impossible," one whispered. "This cannot be." James opened his eyes. He felt the rhythm under his hand, a steady pulse matching his own heartbeat. It was as if their bodies were connected, sharing life. He whispered, "You're coming back." The girl's golden eyes flickered open for the first time. They were weak, unfocused, but alive. She looked directly at James for a brief moment. Then her hand twitched, reaching slightly toward his wrist before falling back to her side. The leader's knees hit the floor. His proud voice broke into a whisper. "She lives." His guards stared in shock, never having seen their ruler show such raw emotion. The healers fell into chaos. Some shouted, "This is forbidden power." Others argued, "No, this is proof humans carry something beyond us." Their voices clashed like thunder in the chamber. James pulled his hand away slowly, his palm still glowing faintly. He stared at it in horror and wonder. What am I?" he whispered. The girl took another deep breath, stronger this time. Her color returned slowly to her silver skin. Her lips moved, forming a faint word. Though her voice was too weak for anyone but James to hear, it sounded like "stay." The leader rose to his full height. His voice thundered across the hall. 17 alien doctors failed. But this human's touch has brought my daughter back. From this day forward, no one calls him weak. No one mocks his kind. The council members protested. "He is dangerous. He must be studied, controlled." Another added, "If this power spreads, our people will lose faith in us." But the leader silenced them with a glare. "My daughter breathes because of him. You will remember that." James stepped back, his body shaking. He did not feel like a hero. He felt like a man standing on the edge of something far bigger than himself. He whispered again, "Why me? Why now?" The crowd outside the hall already stirred with rumors. Stories spread like wildfire. The human touched her, and she lived. The human carries the gift of life. And as night fell on the alien city, James realized one truth. His life would never return to normal. He was no longer just a mechanic. He was now something else, something the galaxy had no name for. The news spread faster than the stars moved across the sky. By the time the second night came, the entire alien city whispered of the miracle. The human's touch had done what no healer, no doctor, no ancient machine could do. Life had returned to the leader's daughter. Inside the great hall, the girl was still weak but no longer dying. Her silver skin glowed faintly, as if starlight itself lived inside her. James stayed at her side, though he felt more like a prisoner than a guest. Guards stood near every door, their hands always close to their weapons. The council watched him with cold, calculating eyes. James could not sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he felt the warmth in his palm, that strange energy he could not explain. It frightened him. He whispered to himself, "This isn't normal. This isn't me." Yet every time he looked at the girl, her chest rising steady, he could not deny the truth. She was alive because of him. The leader entered quietly, his heavy steps echoing across the crystal floor. He stopped at the bedside, looking down at his daughter. For the first time in many cycles, his voice softened. "She smiles in her dreams again. Human, you gave me what no one else could." James lowered his head. "I didn't mean to. I don't even understand how." But the leader shook his head. 17 alien doctors failed, yet your hand gave her life. That is no accident. That is destiny. Outside the chamber, the alien doctors gathered, their pride shattered. "We studied for centuries," one hissed. "We carried the wisdom of 1,000 worlds. and still we failed. Another clenched his fists. Now the people cheer for the human, not for us. If this continues, our names will be forgotten. Their envy grew sharper than blades. But inside, another truth was unfolding. The girl's strength returned faster than anyone expected. By the third day she could sit up. Her golden eyes opened longer each time. She looked at James often, her gaze soft, almost curious. When he placed his hand near her again, her breathing calmed, her pulse grew steady. The council could not ignore it. They summoned James before them. The hall was filled with high voices and harsh questions. Explain this power, one demanded. Is it a device? A secret Earth technology? Another growled. No human should have such ability. This must be controlled. James stood awkwardly in the center, his hands clenched at his sides. I don't know. I swear, I don't have devices. I'm just me. Laughter broke out, cruel and sharp. Just him, one mocked. And yet he shames 17 of our best. But the leader silenced them with his booming voice. You speak of shame, but I see life. Without him, my daughter would be dust beneath your failures. Respect the human, or be silent. The council quieted, but hatred still burned in their eyes. James returned to the girl's chamber, his mind heavy with fear. He never wanted this. He never wanted to be anyone's miracle. But when the girl whispered faintly, her first true word since waking, it struck him deeply. Stay, she said, her voice weak but filled with trust. James froze, his throat tightened. He nodded. I'll stay. And in that moment, something shifted. The miracle was no longer just survival. It was connection, an alien girl whose people had given up hope, and a human who never asked to be a savior. But fate had joined them, and nothing in the galaxy would ever be the same again. By the end of the week, the alien city was divided. Some called James a savior. Others whispered he was a curse. Crowds gathered outside the great hall, holding glowing lanterns and chanting. The human gave life. Their voices echoed across the towers. But not everyone was pleased. The alien healers, who had once been honored across the stars, now stood in shame, their names forgotten in the shadow of one human. Envy grew in their hearts. He makes us look weak. One spat. If the people believe in him, they will no longer believe in us, another whispered. Then perhaps the human should not live long. Inside the hall, the council held a stormy meeting. This cannot continue, one member growled. The human has upset the balance. He must be studied or destroyed. Another argued. No, the people already see him as a hero. If we harm him, riots will rise. The leader silenced them, his voice sharp. I will not hear talk of destroying the one who saved my daughter. Without him, she would be lost. His presence is no threat, unless you make it so. Still, the tension grew. James could feel it in every step he took. Guards followed him closer, eyes full of suspicion. When he walked through the markets, aliens stared. Some bowed their heads in respect. Others spat near his feet. Children pointed at him, whispering, That's the human who healed her. James hated the attention. He never wanted fame, never wanted enemies. He only wanted to fix ships and live quietly. But fate had given him something else, and now he was trapped between gratitude and hatred. The girl, however, saw him differently. When she was strong enough to sit up, she asked for him constantly. Her voice was still soft, but her eyes shone with life. Stay with me, she whispered often. When you are here, I feel safe. James would sit beside her bed, unsure why his presence comforted her so much, yet he could not ignore the bond that grew between them. The council tried again to question him. What are you hiding? They demanded. What secret does your kind keep? James shook his head each time. I don't know. I swear. I'm just a mechanic. I fix broken things. One elder slammed his fist. Yes, and somehow you fixed life itself. Rumors spread even faster. Some claimed James carried ancient power. Others whispered he was chosen by the stars. A few even began to kneel when he passed, treating him like a holy figure. James hated it. He muttered to himself, I'm not a god. I'm just human. But danger also grew. In the shadows of the city, the insulted doctors plotted. If the human lives, we will lose everything. But if he dies quietly, the people will forget him. Their eyes glowed with jealousy, and their whispers turned to plans. Meanwhile, The girl grew stronger. She could walk with help now. Her golden eyes followed James whenever he entered. She spoke with more clarity, her first full words directed at him. "Why do you care for me?" she asked one night. James paused, searching for an answer. "Because no one else believed you could live, and I couldn't stand to see you left alone." Her lips curved into a faint smile. "Then you are not just human, you are hope." Those words shook James more than the leader's praise. Hope. Something he had never thought himself to be. Yet here he was, a stranger among aliens, carrying the weight of a miracle he never understood. And while he struggled with doubt, the city trembled with change. Some wanted him protected, others wanted him destroyed. And in the darkness, enemies sharpened their blades, waiting for the chance to end the human who had done the impossible. The miracle had given James respect, but it had also placed a target on his back. Every corner of the alien city buzzed with whispers. Some called him the Chosen One, while others cursed his name. In the shadows, envy grew sharp, and hidden plans began to form. James walked the halls with guards always at his side. Yet even with protection, he felt unsafe. Their eyes were cold, as if they were waiting for him to make one wrong move. He muttered to himself, "I didn't ask for this. I didn't want any of this." But destiny had dragged him into the center of alien politics. The girl, however, wanted him near. She reached for him whenever he tried to step away. Her voice, though weak, carried command. "Stay close," she whispered. "When you are gone, the darkness comes back." James could not explain it, but whenever he laid his hand on her, her pulse grew stronger, her face brighter. It was as if her very life clung to his presence. The leader noticed this bond. His eyes narrowed as he spoke to James. "My daughter lives because of you. Human, from this day forward, you will not leave her side. She trusts you more than any of us, and if she falls again, your life will end with hers." The words struck James like a blade. He was no longer a guest. He was bound, his freedom stolen by the very miracle he had given. The honor others spoke of felt more like chains. Outside the chamber, the council continued their secret debates. "He grows too close to her," one whispered. "If he gains her trust, he gains power," another hissed. "Then we must act before the people see him as more than a healer, before they call him king." Their fear twisted into hatred, and their hatred twisted into plans of betrayal. The alien doctors, still humiliated, met in secret. "Our hands, once worshipped, are now forgotten," one said bitterly. 17 of us failed, and the human is praised," another added coldly. "If he disappears, hope will die with him, and the people will turn back to us." They agreed to strike soon, hiding their envy behind smiles. James, unaware of the plots around him, struggled with doubt. At night, he sat by the girl's bedside, watching her sleep. He whispered, "Why me? Why do you need me?" She stirred, her golden eyes opening, and for the first time her words were clear. "Because you care, not for power, not for glory, only for life. That is why I trust you." Her words cut through his fear. He realized he had become more than a mechanic, more than a prisoner. He was her protector, whether he wanted it or not. But even as hope grew between them, shadows closed in. Strange figures followed James in the markets. He felt eyes watching him when he walked at night. Once, he returned to his chamber to find a blade hidden under his bed, left as a warning. The miracle had saved a life, but it had also created danger, and James knew deep down that this was only the beginning. The girl clung to him for safety, the leader bound him to her fate, and the council sharpened their daggers in the dark. The human who never wanted to be a hero was now standing at the edge of betrayal and legend, and the choice to survive would mean more than saving one life. It might mean saving his own. The alien city no longer slept. Every tower, every street, every market echoed with the same story. The human saved her. The human brought life back. Children carved his likeness into walls. Merchants sold glowing charms in his name, and singers created songs that praised him as the bringer of hope. But not everyone sang. In the dark corners, anger grew. The council still feared him. The doctors still envied him, and assassins now sharpened their blades. For every voice that cheered, another whispered, "End him before he becomes more than a man." James felt the weight of it all. He had never wanted fame, never wanted power, yet everywhere he walked, eyes followed. Some knelt before him, others cursed him. He muttered to himself, "I just wanted to fix ships. Now I'm fixing lives." His voice carried both pride and sorrow. The girl, stronger now, walked with him through the gardens of crystal. Her silver skin shimmered under the alien sun, her golden eyes no longer empty but filled with life. "They look at you as if you are chosen," she said softly. James shook his head. "I'm not chosen. I'm just human." But she smiled faintly. "Sometimes, that is enough." That night, danger struck. Shadows slipped into his chamber, blades gleaming. James woke to the sound of steel. The assassins moved fast, but before they could strike, guards stormed in. The attackers were captured, and their faces were revealed. Alien doctors, the same healers who had failed. Their jealousy had turned to violence. The leader's fury shook the hall. 17 failed, and still they conspired. They will be cast out, their names erased from our history. The people roared in approval, and their cheers turned to chants of the human's name. James stood frozen. He had survived the attempt, but now he realized something terrifying. The more they praised him, the more enemies he made. The miracle was no longer just about saving a girl. It was about survival. It was about becoming something larger than himself. The girl touched his hand, her voice steady. "You saved me, and now you must save yourself. The galaxy will hear your name, whether you want it or not." The leader declared before the council, "From this day, the human is under my protection. He is no slave, no outsider, but a guardian of my bloodline. Any who raise a hand against him raise a hand against me." The city erupted with cheers. Firelights danced across the night sky, and songs spread from one world to another. Across the stars, stories began to grow, tales of a simple human whose touch defeated death. James stood in the center of it all, his heart heavy. He did not feel like a savior. He felt like a man caught in a storm. Yet deep inside, he knew this was only the beginning. He whispered to himself, 17 alien doctors failed, but I saved her, and now I must face what comes next." And so, the legend of the human began, born not from choice, but from touch, from doubt and fear, from kindness and fate, a story that would echo across galaxies, long after the first miracle turned into many more.